Hey guys, welcome to the Daily Red podcast. I'm not Dave Davis, but that is Grizz Khan. Welcome to the show. It's a Saturday, the 23rd of November. Let's get into this one. So, Grizz, sleep before Liverpool's game against Southampton. How do you feel before, like after an international break? How do you go into this? What are your expectations? What do you kind of perceive for Liverpool?
Do you know what it is? We because I literally tweeted something relevant to this, so it's not like it's prevalent in my mind. We thought we're gonna have a season where we're not gonna be nervous, we're not gonna be full of tension and nerves come match day or pre-match day.
Yeah.
But it's anything but 11 games in, Nina, and it's Groundhog Day again, like 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, where every weekend is a must. It's like we're back there again. We thought after Klopp, Slot's going to give us a season of transition. Look, we expected to not fall away, but we didn't expect to be here. But here we are. And like you say, every international break is feeling worse because we want to see the Reds again. We just can't wait for the international breaks to be over. And I know they're over now for a few months. And now it's like every match day is that feeling of jeopardy again. Like we can't drop a point because we're in a title race. But it's a good feeling, right? It's a good nervous. It's a positive nervous as opposed to not looking forward to it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited again. And it's that feeling of here we go again. Liverpool are in a title race.
Indeed. I think this was a free hit for me. It was a free hit, and I feel like the international breaks come at like the worst time. Liverpool are on a good run of form. The rivals are doing really bad, and then we kind of stop. I take a little break from that little period, but there has been a lot of news. We'll talk about the Southampton game. Should we preview that first, actually, because we're on it anyway? Let's talk about Southampton. Let's talk about some real football. So what did you make? You spoke about 11 games in, and Slot actually made a comment about this thing. It's 11 games in, don't get carried away. Are you going to take his advice, or are you getting the parade ready? Where are you on this one?
So I've the parade ready. Not quite on that level yet. Look, I'm with you. I was totally relaxed this season. I didn't feel any pressure. What am I going to feel pressure for? But as fans, even like the tension wasn't there this season.
We've had some heartbreak in the past, haven't we, with 1 point and stuff.
We've gone through it all. Nothing phases us in terms of tension and pressure. We've gone through tension and pressure to the maximum. So this season was, let's just see what this guy's about. Let's see how the players respond to him. Let's see how the fans respond to him. And it's amazing, isn't it? Because Klopp's mantra was turning from doubters to believers. And I think it's fair to say there was quite a few sections of the fan base that became doubters again. So even though Slot didn't say it, probably he was like, okay, I'm going to turn you guys into believers as well. But he didn't say it, obviously, like Klopp. And I have to say, 11 games in, I'm a believer. Now, I'm not organizing parades as such, but I tell you what, the next we've got Southampton away. Madrid, I'm not overly fussed about, but next week's game, if we win our next 2 league games, then ask me the same question and you may get a different answer. But right now, you're right. It's 11 games in. We concentrate on Southampton, but how can we not be excited or happy with what we've seen so far? It's been glorious bar the Nottingham Forest, absolutely glorious bar the Nottingham Forest result. And yeah, I'm so looking forward to tomorrow. I'm actually going down to Southampton or up to Southampton, depending on where I am. I can't work it out. But yeah, I'm going to Southampton, first time ever. So let's see if we can carry on the amazing start.
Indeed. Let's kind of bring up some little comments there. Mark, thank you so much. It's great to be live, completely spontaneous. It's fun. Grizz is really leading the way here. I've got another comment here from what you just said there, Grizz, from Dave Horrocks, cautiously getting carried away. He was my post-match guy, and I loved it. So yeah, bring it on.
I think you're spot on. Cautiously, we have to be cautious. Look, people that are writing off Man City, are you crazy, guys? Like, have you not been on planet Earth?
Have you not learned anything?
But like, do you know what I mean? Have you not missed anything? Now, obviously, minus Rodri is a massive minus. Like Rodri is for me the single most influential football player for any club side in world football. And you can put up anyone else against him and I'll fight that case. I think that's how important he is. And even though Arsenal haven't had an amazing start, if you look at their fixtures, they've had an awful set of fixtures to start off with. And I don't think they're out of it as well, Nina. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I don't think they're out of it. But we have had a brilliant start. Of course, we haven't played anyone. You know, we only play anyone when we play Man City. So that'll be next week. You know, we'll finally have played someone. And then we can assess where we really are, I think, after the Man City game.
We have. I tell you what, going live is... it's really thrown me off because I've got your good friend here, Cam Branch, saying, "Who are you two?" Don't know.
Yeah, well, no, he's got well, of course, who are you two? Because of course he's forgotten me, like WhatsApp message after message being ignored. And look, suddenly he's there in the live chat. Suddenly he's available. Can you respond to some messages maybe now and again?
Well, there you go. You've just been called out on a live stream, Cam. So right back at you. With regards to this game, Grizz, you spoke about Man City. It's a big one. You said you're not too concerned about Real Madrid. I am, because I just want to beat them once. You know, it would be nice. It doesn't quite happen for us. But with this Southampton game, I think people are kind of seeing it as a bit of a free hit. We've seen what Southampton aren't doing in the Premier League. I think they're really massively underwhelming. So do you think Slot is going to rotate massively with the South American lads as well? You know, I think that's, for me, that's always a touch and go for me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, what is he going to do with them? So, I mean, like, do you think he's going to massively rotate, or do you think he's going to go full on and then rest the players, get them ready for Real Madrid? What do you think his approach should be or will be?
Do you know what? So far, the few things that we've learned from Slot is he doesn't like too much rotation. He doesn't take losses to heart. Lightly, because that's what I mean. Because he references Nottingham Forest in every press conference, like everything he says, he still references Nottingham Forest. He hasn't got over it, the poor fella, and obviously a lot of the fans haven't got over it. So I don't think he's going to rotate much. I think he's going to rest the South American players. I think McAllister. I think he's learned that from the Forest game, because that was after the international. After the international break. And even last season, we saw McAllister perform after he was away for international duty. You know, it wasn't pleasant viewing. I think he's going to rest just the contingent from South America. But apart from that, the strongest lineup available, because it's no, like the old cliche, there is no such thing as an easy game in the Premier League. There literally isn't. Now, Southampton haven't had the greatest start. In fact, they've had an awful start. But even Slot talked about they haven't got the results some of their performances have warranted, and they do like to play football. Now, I know a lot of people say that will suit us down to the ground. That suited a Klopp team. Whether it suits a Slot team, only time and the more we see of these type of games will tell. But I'm not taking it lightly at all. I think full steam ahead and pick the strongest team available, apart from, I'd guess, McAllister and Diaz, because we've got the options of replacing them, you know, and then and then look forward to the Real Madrid game.
Yeah, and do you think this is the game maybe where Endo comes in then? Because if he doesn't play, I mean, your buddy and our buddy and everyone's buddy, and you know, the guy on AI, Dave Davis, on the Slot press conference where he gives his thoughts and analysis, said if Endo doesn't get a game here, when is he going to play him? And I completely, you know, he became a complete afterthought for me, Endo. Like you said, Slot doesn't rotate. So does he come in?
It's difficult. You know, I've got the utmost time for Endo. You know, the ultimate professional, you know, on his way to becoming, he was on the way to becoming a cult hero, I'd even argue, right? But it's so obviously, Nina, it's so obvious in the modern day and age, and as much as Slot's trying not to cause an issue or stir or be controversial, it's the most blatant not fancying a player you're ever likely to see. Like, he just doesn't rate him, and he's made that quite clear, I think, in terms of the way he's spoken, in terms of the way he's selected his teams. I hear what Dave's saying. I think he's nailed on starter in the League Cup. Whether he starts a league game tomorrow, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, can you see him starting? Because
He literally said Mascherano was like my idol. And I'm like, I love you so much. You just...
Mascherano was my idol as well. So that's why my love for Endo and my respect for Endo went through the roof. I just wish he was, close to Mascherano levels. But look, I don't want to slay Endo. As I said, last season he came in at awkward time, last minute, and done a wonderful job for us. Wonderful job for us. But it was total sort of different to how Klopp valued him and rated him, as opposed to how Slot sees him. But look, I mean, look, we can definitely say Curtis Jones and I'd say Gravenberch are bona fide starters. Now it's either Szoboszlai gets a rest, because I think McAllister will definitely get a rest. It's either Szoboszlai gets a rest, and if Szoboszlai gets a rest, then Endo gets a start. So does Szoboszlai get a rest? He played both games for Hungary. In fact, he scored a last-minute Panenka penalty for his Hungarian national team. I still don't think Endo gets a start. I mean, I might be surprised, I might be shocked, and he does. Personally, I just don't see it.
What about Cam's comment here? If Spurs get a result, because Spurs are very Spursy, they're like Jekyll and Hyde kind of side here. I mean, like 1 minute they're up, 1 minute they're down. So will that play? I mean, I think that's got to count for something, or no?
No. It won't. It won't. It just won't. It just won't. Cam, it won't. Slot is way too professional, tactically astute to think that if Spurs get a result, it will change his tactics and his thoughts and his selection. I think Slot will absolutely have his team selection ready as soon as the international. In that first training session, when he got them back, I'm pretty certain he would have had his team ready, exactly how the team he's going to pick for, barring injuries, obviously, like any training issues or whatever. For Southampton, for Madrid, for Man City. I know they don't say it, but I think he will have planned out the next 3 games for sure. I don't think the Spurs result, even though you never know, as I said, Spurs could. It's the wild, wild west this season, Nina. This Premier League this season is crazy. And It wouldn't surprise me, like you said, about Spurs, but I don't think it should, and I don't think it will affect the selection of Slot.
Fair point. Well, I've got another comment here from Edward Joseph, and he's saying Endo's time will come. Slot has lots of strategies still to unleash. I like that. We love the positivity, because naturally both of us are fans of Endo, so we agree with that. So, Grizz, you said you're going. Are you looking forward to it? Are you excited? First away trip?
Yeah, first away trip to Southampton. I haven't been to Southampton. I don't even think I went to the old Dell. Probably was around when the Dell was around as well. But definitely haven't been to St. Mary's, the new stadium. I am excited. It's a good time to be a Liverpool fan again. As I said, we thought we're going to have a nice, comfortable season where if we finish top 4, it'll be consolidation. I just didn't want to drop off like Wenger versus at Arsenal. And then when Fergie left United, you see the drop off when them 2 legends of them clubs left. I didn't want to be in that situation with Liverpool and Klopp. I didn't want to be the butt of jokes. Oh, look, Klopp's left and they're finished. Oh, my God. Because so many rival fans were just waiting for us to just disappear like their clubs did. So I'm so happy. I'm so happy that Slot's actually revitalized us. And he's revitalized our expectations. Like that previous comment, I'm cautiously getting more and more optimistic, positive again. And yeah, tomorrow I think the away end's going to be absolutely bouncing, like it's been at pretty much every game that I've been to away. It's like the good feelings, the good vibes feelings are truly, truly back. And as I said, we didn't really anticipate that.
No, we didn't. And your comments there about Man United and Arsenal as well. I feel like both managers left that, like, when I think, the team was pretty much dragged through the mud, the wheels were falling off. I think Wenger overstayed. I think, Fergie just wanted to win that title one last time. I think also as well, United fans, I think the reason why they are so frustrated is the simple fact that when Fergie left, they thought everything was going to be fine because they've had it for a long time.
They were so used to it, Nina. They were so used to success.
My mum's a United fan. Oh my God, you should see the meltdowns that I have to witness. It's hilarious. She's quite happy now though, naturally, but you get it, right? There's a sense of entitlement that, no, hang on, so I get that. With Liverpool, I think, with Klopp, I think he left them at a really good stage. He went on a high, left a really, really good set of players. And I think Liverpool fans, I'm not bigging us up, but I think we weren't being stupid or unrealistic, a majority of us. We were like, well, okay, Klopp is leaving. Let's just, breathe. Everything's new. Just, be in the moment, basically. And I think that's where I am as a Liverpool sport. Even now, we're on top of the league, Grizz, and I am completely in the moment because I know that there will be some turbulence. And that's going to be part of it as well. And how you deal with that as a supporter. I'm not going to be reactionary at all. I never have been, never will be. But yeah, I'm really excited that you're going to go to Southampton. It's another thing for you to check off your list. There are some big injuries, and some players that are actually injured have been making some headlines this week. And there's been some news about Alisson Becker. Now, Grizz, this week, it's international break. We have a lot of chit-chat about transfers, contracts, and I know you like to really get stuck into this kind of stuff. I read an article this week, and I think it was in the Mirror, about Liverpool are potentially going to sell Kelleher to Chelsea, or linked. Chelsea are looking at him, which makes sense because they have had the worst recruitment when it comes to goalkeepers, let's be honest. He would be a good fit for them. Shouldn't go to them though. That's another story. I do want him to go somewhere, but not them. And then I read that, Slot's also thinking of getting rid of Alisson Becker. I freaked out. But today there is a story in the Turkish press by a newspaper called Sabah saying that Galatasaray are really looking at him. Normally, you'd laugh this out of the building. New manager, we don't know what to expect. Where do you stand on this? Because I'm of the belief that he lets one go, and I think Alisson stays. He's the best. But injuries as well. Where are you on this?
I think there's a few decisions to make this summer. I think there's quite and around the goalkeeping situation, everyone thinks it's a foregone conclusion that Kelleher goes. We kept him. We kind of persuaded him. Stroke didn't get the valuation met this summer. But what decision? Whoever made that call, whoever forced him to stay, or Keller had decided to stay, because with Alisson's injury record and again missing the last 7-8 games, the biggest testimony I can pay to Kelleher is that we didn't miss Alisson, and I didn't think we were. And you know what? That's huge. Because in seasons gone by, when no Alisson, we've all had a nervous breakdown. What are we going to do without Alisson? This is the biggest testimony. I think he's a wonderful goalkeeper. I think he gets into 75% of all other Premier League teams, if not more. I genuinely, in fact, it possibly could be more. I can't think of many keepers better than him in the Premier League. But I think there is going to be a decision to be made, Nina, especially with taking into consideration Alisson's situation with his injuries. And it is a concern when a goalkeeper is picking up so many injuries of the same nature. That is slightly concerning because he's not getting younger and he is a big lad. And I personally don't think we've invested the time, the energy, and chased this Mamadashvili in practicing his accent and name, and I think I've absolutely killed it there. I said it spot on.
Yeah, you have. You're talking to the worst person to pronounce names, so you win there. Yeah.
Well, I challenge you in terms of that because I'm just as bad. Trust me, people will tell you I'm just as bad. I butcher every single name, but I've been told off so many times about this one. I've actually practiced. I won't try to say it again because I think just once is enough. But that keeper that we've bought, I don't think we've bought him to be backup. I don't think he's going to be backup. I genuinely think he's going to be challenging for a first team spot. Now, if that is the case, then there has to be a decision made. Alisson has got suitors all around the world, and why wouldn't he? an absolute legendary keeper, probably in the top 3 goalkeeper, top 5, top 3 goalkeepers of Premier League era. I think there's going to be a decision to be made. I know Alisson's come out and said he has no intention of going anywhere and he wants to stay here. But I also know that if the right offer came in and it was matched, I think we'd accept it, Nina, personally. That's just my personal hunch, my personal feeling. And I think there will be a decision made because I do think there will be huge offers for Alisson this summer. Huge.
Oh, massive. I mean, that's why when I saw the reports to Turkey, I was like, he's going to have better suitors. My theory is, and my logic is, Kelleher clearly does not want to be number 2, hence why we had all those.
You blame him now, though.
Yeah, I get it. And I want him to go somewhere, but it's annoying when clubs offer him like 12 million. Like, are you having a laugh? Like, he's worth so much more than that. So I think he's going to go off. This is my thinking. I think Alisson's going to stay with Mamashvili. I did it worse than you. I jumped over it. And I think...
Call him Mama. Just call him Mama. Just call him Mama. My advice would be just
Mama. We'll call him Mama. Right. So I think Mama comes in and Alisson and him have got a sort of a fight for their place. And then a decision will be made. And then we'll see.
I think that's the sensible way of doing it. I think the logical way of doing it would be let Kelleher go. Minimum 25, 30 million, minimum. And then Mamadashvili should have the respect and, he should be sensible about it. He's walking into a legendary club who has a legendary keeper in place and say, I'll give it a year to fight and be sort of part of the club and work my way into it. And then that gives Alisson another season as well. And then we can assess Alisson as well in terms of, because if he misses chunks of next season as well, Nina, then there's surely a decision to be made if he misses chunks of next season. So it'll be interesting to see if suddenly Alisson's fitness issues are resolved as well when he has Mamadashvili as a rival. But I think the logical way of doing things would be sell Kelleher for significant amounts of money. And I'm talking 25, 30 million minimum. Mamadashvili comes in. And then Alisson and then Alisson, we assess Alisson for another season, probably, possibly. But the situation, what complicates the situation is Alisson will have 2 years left on his deal, you see. And so therefore, that's why I think a decision will have to be made, because again, we're going to have that same scenario that we're having with a few of the others, where do we let Alisson go into the last year of his contract? So but interesting times, but it's good. It's good to have, because it's obviously we rate Mamadashvili so highly that we pursued and chased him so with such intent. So look, it's amazing. We've actually got and let's not forget Jaros. We've got the 4 best keepers in Europe. No one's got depth in goalkeeping like us in the world, I'd say, because Jaros is a very good goalkeeper in his own right. So that's one area of the pitch that is looking very healthy.
Yeah, certainly stepped up against Crystal Palace. I mean, I didn't know anything about him, and they weren't big saves, but he was called into action and he delivered. Tayo there saying Alisson best goalkeeper in the world. Anfield Index were correcting our pronunciation. It's really interesting. You spoke about Alisson's fitness, and it's a sidetrack, but it's what Slot said about Konate and how he's impressed. And he goes, it's in his press conference where he spoke about the player's fitness and it's to do with his staff.
Okay.
It's to do with the staff and also to do with the player's determination, desire to stay fit. I don't know if that's a little dig, like when I'm like looking back at having this conversation now, where he kind of attributed a lot of it to Konate. Who knows?
Yeah, look, he's spot on though as well, because he was asked, the question was direct about what have you done that's different to anything or previously done that's enabled Konate to play X amount of games in a row. And he said, well, it's not something that I've done per se. It's the taking into the information and looking after and following every instruction and being eager and being, listening to everything that's been told and acting upon it, which is great, right? So look, he's rightly praised Konate in terms of taking all the information and everything into consideration. And you know what? Slot and his fitness team had a reputation for making sure players were played more more games of football. Basically, the fitness levels of the final players were brilliant. Their sort of record. The injuries records were very, very good, and we were obviously hoping and praying that he could bring that formula to Liverpool, because we know if we're able to keep our squad fit and healthy, our squad is good as anyone's in Europe, I'd say, if it's fit and healthy. Our 17, 18 players are, and depth wise as well, player for player, I'd put up against anyone in Europe. But we know it's keeping those players injury free. And so far, apart from the Jota freak injury and the Elliott one, I think we've done very, very well. And Konate is probably the best surprise out of all of them, because we know what Konate is like. But I think he's played 13, 14 games now. So yeah, long may it continue, because Konate stays fit for 90% of the season. I'm so confident of just doing well. That's just how highly I rate him.
A bit of a sidetrack, and there is some transfer news about Zubimendi, but before I get to that, or news, what do you make of the contract situation? I kind of wanted it sorted in the international break. Yeah. Maybe I'm just really antsy, but it's the longer it stays, I don't know, like doubts build up in my head.
Of course, it's just the way of the world, isn't it? The longer these kind of things continue, the longer you think there's not been agreements being made, then you start panicking. Yeah. I'm with you. I anticipated or I hoped for positive news over the international break, especially it being the last international break before they're actually allowed to speak to everyone and make deals with other people and other teams. Without going into any statements, I have a very, very, very good hunch that we will have very, very good news in the next 10 days. I think we will. I think it's ready now. I think it's and just the boost, Nina, around the club, around the fans, around the team. Can you imagine? I know that cliche, and I know Liverpool fans hate saying it, but it'll be like 3 new superstar signings. Like, if you offered me right now 3 contracts agreed and signed over making a transfer, I'm taking the 3 players, the 3 said players signed and agreed. I think we're gonna get. Oh my God, he's got headlines up already. Eddie's fast.
Eddie, the producer, stick with.
I think we're gonna expect. I think we're expecting very, very, very good news. Did I say it 3 times there? Is there a hint there?
You sounded like the guy from Naked Gun. I'm very, very, very.
I said it 3 times there. Maybe that's a hint. But I'm anticipating very good news in the next 10 days, in and around between Man City and Real Madrid. But I like you, like anyone else. The longer it does continue, the more you think, oh God, why aren't they agreed? And why have we got ourselves in this position? But that's a whole different story. As long as they're resolved, we, as a Liverpool fan base, we are very forgiving people. We are a very forgiving fan base, and all will be forgiven and forgotten if they are signed and secured.
I hear that. You spoke about these 3 players outweigh any new signing. So there's been some news, or it's that time, isn't it, Grizz, where you pretty much get linked to everyone. You've got to be really mindful and conscientious about who you're getting linked to, which one has legs, and what seems realistic. Zubimendi, I saw some stories being broke in Spain. I think Anfield Index have got an article up on the site as well, that we are being linked to him again in January, and Arsenal are probably our nearest rivals for that one. What do you make of that one? Because he picked mountains essentially
over us. Yeah, it's an interesting one, and it's a weird one. I genuinely
do you still want him after all that? I do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was identified as the perfect player for Slot and his system, as opposed to the perfect player suited for a Klopp system. I don't think we would have chased him and pursued him as much if Klopp was in charge. But the fact that Slot plays the way he has, and he's identified the role and the profile of player that he has, it made Zubimendi number 1. Obviously, it's very apparent we tried everything, we convinced, we paid the fee, everything was not an issue. I genuinely, and I've said this before with Dave, So forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but I genuinely think that his club didn't want to let three main stalwarts of their spine of their team go in one summer.
Yeah.
Obviously, Normand had already, the centre back had already agreed to move. Marino had agreed to move to Arsenal, and then they just thought, how are we going to cope if Zubimendi goes as well in the window? I genuinely think they'll be more open to selling in the summer, next summer. I think they persuaded him and emotionally done all the emotional blackmail that they needed to do to say, look, this is your club. We're going to fall apart if you leave us. And Zubimendi, we know, is a softie.
And it's emotionally attached. This is his club, right? We get Gerrard, you know, we can empathize in that regard.
We can relate massively. Yeah. But I think eventually he will want to make a big move. And depending on who Man City get in this January transfer window, I think they will be our rivals as opposed to Arsenal. But, you know, if you're asking me to choose one midfielder, because I know we've been vaguely linked with Tchouaméni, I don't see us going back in for him. I almost certainly see us going back for Zubimendi, though, because I think he far profiles better than Tchouaméni for slot. But yeah, look, he's got to get over it. Like, we've got wonderful sites he doesn't have to stay in Liverpool all the time. He can go to visit Eddie in Scotland. Like, there's so many mountains.
Zubimendi, Martin, do it.
You can. There's so many sites. You know, you can come to sunny Luton. There's amazing sites in sunny Luton as well. So, you know, he's an open invitation to Zubimendi to come to the UK and sample our sites as opposed to the mountains where he is. But yeah, I definitely think we pursue it, and obviously then it's down to him to actually make the plunge.
I know Man City have been a massive suitor since Rodri's gone, but you know, from a player's perspective, as soon as Rodri's back, you're gonna from a player, I wouldn't recommend it for him if I'm being completely neutral in it. He needs to go to a team where he is established and it's his spot. Because I had Graham Hunter on Media Matters, you know, when we were being linked. Actually, it looked like it was almost done. Not linked, it looked like it was done.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't done. And Graham Hunter goes in the Spanish team. The manager said, I'm very blessed because I have the best holding midfielder in Rodri, and I picked him off and I put him on for the second. And that's where I think, well, hang on a minute. If you're going to Man City, that is essentially what you're up against. And, you know, I just feel like you'll be wasted on the bench. Come to Liverpool.
The only thing would be sort of, we don't know what Rodri will play like.
Standing issues with his injury now. You know, you don't know what I mean?
So, and also the Pep Guardiola situation and him signing a 2-year extension. We don't know if he's going to fulfill that. So obviously there's lots of questions, you're right, about the Man City situation, whereas Slot has made it very clear he's his number one choice, his number one target. And hopefully Zubimendi appreciates that and feels the love and affection that we had. And also, you know, our man, Mr. Hughes, has a very good relationship with his agent. So hopefully, and they have kept in touch. They have kept lines of communication open. So hopefully that will sway things in our favor. You'd like to think and hope.
You would indeed. Grizz, anything else you kind of want to get off your chest before you go off tomorrow? One more sleep before the game.
No, it's that time of season. It's that time of year again where Liverpool are in the question. Liverpool are the answers to many questions. People are talking about, can Liverpool do it? And there's lots of yeses going around suddenly with pundits and media alike, where 6 weeks ago, everyone was semi-laughing at us like, haha, how are you going to cope without Jurgen Klopp? It's not going to be the same. Haha, no signings, etc., etc. No money spent. We bought a keeper for next season. We bought a croc in Chiesa. And everyone was thinking, what are Liverpool going to look like post Klopp and no signings and FSG tight purse strings and Trent possibly leaving, Mohamed Salah possibly leaving, Virgil van Dijk possibly leaving? Well, fast forward 6-8 weeks. We're on top of the league. We're on top of the Champions League. And as I've speculated, we're about to have very, very good news in the next 10 days. So suddenly things are looking rosy again. And tomorrow, it's as I said at the start of the show, it's a must win. We're back at that stage. We're back at that level where it's a must win. And if we win tomorrow, and if we win next Sunday, Wow. I don't know if I'll be able to contain the excitement because that will put us 8 points clear, I believe, of Man City, right? Yeah, we're 5 points clear. If we beat them next week, assuming they beat Spurs, that's 8 points clear. Deep breaths, deep breaths.
I tell you what, Grizz, you're probably the most loved man in the Liverpool fan base with that little teaser that you gave about potential good news. And yeah, I think it's a really, really good time to be the Reds. I just want the football to start because for me, this is the real deal. It's going to get really busy. I guess this is going to be the testament now of where we are. We know that the players can compete with this high load of intense games, but how Slot kind of manages it as well. It all feels relatively
to him.
Yeah,
it's absolutely, it's new to him. And this was my, not fear, but, sort of concern. How is he going to handle this period? Because do you remember Klopp in his first 2 seasons in the Christmas period? We had awful runs. It was like, what the hell has happened? We fell off every single, first 2 seasons, I believe. And then he learned. I'm just hoping and praying that Slot is aware of the situation, and as long as we keep the injury situation positive, and I know we've got returning Elliott, returning Jota in the next couple of weeks as well. As long as we can keep his options to rotate available, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
I'm just going to go through some of the messages that we may have missed. I feel like giving shout outs. It's absolutely important. Afternoon to you as well, Fidel. Thank you so much for listening. We really, really appreciate it. So my first live show. So thank you for sticking around. I do appreciate that. What's this one? I think I missed this one as well. I think Slot has shown he takes one game at a time. The result and titles are sorting themselves out. Yeah, he kind of emphasizes that a lot, doesn't he? Like, when they said, "Oh, you've got a small game before, Real Madrid and Man City," and he was like, "This is a huge game." And he basically says what you kind of expect him to. But yeah, I agree with you there, Edward.
His selections have proved to be so as well. His selections have been proved to be,
he doesn't disrespect anyone, does he?
No, he doesn't. His selection have proved to be that he doesn't mean it. He says what he means. Like, how many times have we anticipated, and me and Dave have done numerous shows where we're trying to guess the team and we're thinking, oh, there's going to be changes. And then suddenly the team lineup comes up and it's strong as possible and he hasn't rotated much. So, as I said, as long as they remain fit and available, we're good. We're good.
We're good. Well, Grizz, this is us pretty much done. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. Grizz, where can people find you on social media? Anything you'd like to plug?
Just, if you want to listen to or read my waffle, just follow me on Twitter and my own channel, which I've been lazy, but I'm going to start doing more content because Liverpool are good again. And when Liverpool are good, you feel like doing more content, right? So happy days all round. Check out Football Carnage and give us a follow if you fancy. Oh, there's a new app. I don't know if you're on it yet. Are you? I don't know if the viewers and subscribers and listeners are on it. What's it called?
Blue Sky. Yeah. But we call it the Blue Sky app or whatever it's called. Yeah.
That's the one. So same handle on there as well. So yeah, if you fancy listening to my waffle, go check it out.
Go and check him out. Right, guys. That was me on the Daily Red podcast with the awesome Grizz Khan, who gave us loads of awesome news and great insight. I can confirm normal service will be resumed tomorrow. Dave Davis is back. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for interacting with the show. And take care and up the Reds.